Hello, my dear friends. So, I am back from a cold country called Ireland. It's pretty cold, and I guess you can see it from my clothes and the cap. Oh, my cap is not straight. Yeah, now it's good. So, in this video, we will be looking into how to present all these PVAs we have created as an option to our end users so that they can click on the appropriate PVA bot and then start chatting with him. So let's get started. So the very first thing we need to do is to store some configurational data within the projects so that the middleware can start talking to it. So the ID of the title of the PVA bot as well as the secret and so on and so forth. So for that, let me go to the app settings file and I would add a new entry here. PVA. Now, keep in mind that it's only for demo purposes that I'm storing this configurational data over here. Ideally, it should be some kind of a database, some kind of a key vault, especially for the secrets. So don't store it in app settings. In a real production project, I would store it in a database and then store the secret in a key vault and put all the security parameters in it. But for the time being, let's go with that. So I have registered two bots over here. Let's quickly start filling them up. Now, if I go to my PVA bot, these are the two bots I would like to communicate with. So let me copy the name. Let's also open this bot, and this should go here and here. Now, this bot name is actually what the name of the bot was when it was provisioned in Power Apps. And the title is what an end user will see. In my case, it's the same, but if you want, you can have you can put it differently. Why am I putting two? Why is bot name important? Is because, as we will see in subsequent videos, the bot name is the key with which I identify which bot it actually is. Now let's go back. The other thing I want to do here is to put the token. So if I go to security, let's go to, I think it's web channel security, and this is the token you would need. So let's copy it and I would paste it here, right? Quick one on the secret part. If you see the Microsoft documentation of how they are communicating with these bots, they don't use the security. I think they are falling back on this token endpoint, this thing. It sometimes works, sometimes I get an object reference not set to an instance object error, and I have no clue what's going on. That's why I have fallen back on the security key. In terms of C# code, it's exactly the same. It's one of the input parameters to a constructor object of direct line, and so the code is exactly the same. So play around with it. If you can figure out what is happening, and if you also get object reference not set to an instance, do let me know. I'm very curious to know why that is happening. Now, does it support file upload? What I mean over here is that out of box PVA does not support any file upload mechanism. Now, what middleware can do is that it can allow this functionality within PVA. So the idea is just to give an interface to end user to upload a file. The middleware then uploads it to Azure, reads the file, and then sends it to PVA for further processing. And I can control that functionality over here. So should my PVA enable this functionality or not? Now then, the tenant ID is pretty straightforward. If you go to the portal.azure, let's quickly go there. I would go to get the tenant ID. I think it's from Entra. I can get it. So that's the tenant ID. Let's come here, paste it here, and then I paste the tenant ID here. Let's quickly do the same thing for the other bot which I would like to provision, which is here. Chatbots. It's HR department. Let's put it here, and then the title is the same, and then of course the secret. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. Well, so this now we have registered our bots within the system. The next thing we need to do is to create a class so that we can store these values. So I would go here, create a new folder, let's call it models. And add a new class. Let's call it PVA. And in this, I would simply copy paste a bunch of code. Let's replace this thing with this. So basically all these properties, keep in mind that this name, bot name, title and ID, it has to be exactly same in what is mentioned over here. So it cannot be the case difference cannot be there, and you cannot say secret ID over here and something over there, because we need to JSON, we need to convert the JSON into objects. So this is pretty important. Having said that, now let's write a very cool and basically the crux of the whole project kind of a class. Let's create a new folder class. In it, I will create a new class, called PVA service. Let's go here. Oops. Look at it. So in this, so let's create a new class. No. The objective of this PVA service class is basically threefold. The first is to get all the registered PVAs within the system. So anyone can call it and get all the registered PVAs. In our case, it is 2. It needs to store the selected PVA by the end user, right? And then also it needs to return the selected PVA. Now for these two, we will be using state to maintain it, right? So let me go ahead and add a bunch of code. Bear with me. Copy, let's paste it here. I love copy paste. So what am I doing here? PVA service, I think it has to be the same, goes like this. So this is my PV object. Whatever the user has selected, logger and configuration of course is evident, and then this is the state where I would be storing the values of what PVA the end user had opted for. Again, if you are not aware of how state works within bot framework, please have a look at my previous videos and I think it should be clear. Also, for storing the PVA, I need a key, and that's what I'm going to do over here. So I need to create a new class called constant. Let's create it. Since I'm very lazy, let me create it here. Laziness is good, huh? Laziness is basically, a developer has to be lazy. Let me add quickly a couple of text over here, so all the keys which we would use. So this is the key, blah blah blah, PVAs and so on and so forth. So I think now this should be done. So this looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and add the code to get all the PVAs registered within the system. The code is pretty straightforward. I would go here and we do, oops. All the registered PVAs is pretty straightforward. You go to config, get section, that's the key. This PVA is actually this guy. It is the same key, and then I just typecast it back to my list of all the registered PVAs. If this works properly, I should get all, in my case I should get 2, but not before I registered this class with the startup, like here. So let's go here and we need to register it here. Give me 1 minute. And the way to do that is by adding this over here. So now that our PVA service is ready, let's go ahead and write a utility function that will expose all the registered PVAs, but as a card. Right now over here, it's a C# object, and that's not going to work in my Composer emulator or within the interface of Teams. It has to be a card. You can read more about it during on the Microsoft documentation about using cards and so on and so forth. It's a whole platform that they have built. So let's go ahead and quickly create a new I think I can already create it under classes. Let's call it utilities. Voila. I really hate when Microsoft or /Visual Studio automatically starts putting namespaces, guessing what I want to do. I really don't like it. If somebody knows how to disable it, please do let me know. So within my class, let's go ahead and write a function. No, that's it. Let's see what am I doing. So that's the function get home screen, and it returns back an activity. This is an activity which will be transported back to the calling application, and bot framework /Microsoft will take care of rendering it appropriately within all the channels. The input parameter is turn context, again standard bot framework object. That's the PVA service which we just created, and headline message, this is whatever message a user or an admin would like to print to end user before he can select the card. For example, please select one of the departments to continue. And then of course this can be multilingual, so in French it would be different, and Hindi it would be different, right? So I create an activity out of that message, and for all the suggested actions, so these are actually my cards for my bot, I create a new object. And then for all the PVA registered PVAs which we had created over here, which is this guy, which returns the JSON, I simply create a new object of the card and I return it back. Right now, let's go ahead and quickly utilize it in PVA middleware, and so that an end user can see it. So the first thing I need to do within PVA middleware is to have this object created. So let's see this in action. Let's get here. I need my PVA service object. Then I can have it injected within my constructor, and then I can say this dot PVA service is PVA service is equal to okay. Now once this is done, the next thing then I can do is to, within my turn context, if it is a message, okay, let it go. Otherwise, what am I doing? Okay, this I don't need. We used it just for demoing the state in our previous demo, so let's comment it out. I can simply return the activity. So I call my new function and I put in the values, and then I can say here string. Let's take header message. Please select a department for your query. Right? As of now, I have hard-coded it, but in production, you would probably read it from some config value, some database or SharePoint list, whatever it is. And also, we would like to have it multilingual, so we can, in later course, we will see how to call translation service from Azure and have this text translated automatically. Yeah? For the time being, let's do this. Let me make sure that everything builds properly. That's cool. Let's run this. The proof of the pudding is it is in its eating. So I will open my bot framework emulator, and if everything goes right, I should be able to see these two bots within my emulator. So let's open it, connect. Now I can say hi. And then I see, please select a department for your query. I have IT department and HR department. I can click on IT. Now what happens right now is, once I click on IT, the text that goes back over here is an IT department. So of course that's the value we are putting. So if I go here, activity, how can I see? I think it was turn context.activity.message. Let me quickly check. Yeah, you see, it's activity, and then you have the message, which is IT department. Of course, the problem we will have is if I do not do some checks and balances every time a user types anything, the answer would be the department, right? So we need to store this. For example, if I say IT department, or I can just simply click on it, it again asks me the same question. So I need that logic over here to figure out that the user has already selected the PVA, and then store it in my state so that a user is not asked for it again and again. So that was for this session. I hope you liked it. In the next session, we will talk about the problem of not returning the same PVA selection checklist back to our end users. What magic do I need to handle that case? And also we'll start talking to our end PVA bots. So all the queries from end users will be redirected to the PVA bot, and so on and so forth. And if you like my videos, please hit like, share and subscribe. Your appreciation goes a long way in curbing my slumberness. Thanks. Bye.